Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. Today, we are plunging headfirst into a narrative that feels, well, less like your standard news report and maybe more like a carefully deconstructed espionage thriller.
It really does. It's quite something.
Our mission for this deep dive is to meticulously unpack a stack of truly extraordinary source materials. We're talking about a self-recorded video testimony,
Right.
complete with official citations, detailed timelines, even like satellite imagery references, all stemming from this chilling personal account.
And it's very recent, this recording.
Just hours ago, apparently. The core subject is a man named Reinaldo. He recorded this testimony convinced he's being targeted by what he describes as this vast, incredibly sophisticated, and frankly, profoundly unsettling state-sponsored criminal organization.
State-sponsored. That's a heavy claim right off the bat.
Exactly. The urgency here is palpable. And the stakes, in Reinaldo's own words, are quite literally life or death. He made it really clear his motivation for recording this whole detailed account was, and I quote, "In case they do succeed at harming me at least, there's a chance that there could be justice."
Wow. So he's creating a record, essentially, a failsafe.
Precisely. Now, as we delve into these sources, you'll encounter claims that might, at first blush, sound utterly unbelievable, maybe even fantastic. But Reinaldo presents them not as mere speculation or, wild conspiracy theories, but as cold, hard data. Painstakingly collected, he says, analyzed, and integrated into this comprehensive framework he's developed.
And that's the key, isn't it? The framework. What we have before us is an extraordinary narrative, one that truly challenges our conventional understanding of how power might operate in the shadows, or maybe even in plain sight.
Right.
So our objective in this deep dive isn't really to validate or, refute Reinaldo's specific claims. We can't.
No, not directly.
Instead, it is to systematically analyze his assertions, the evidence he presents, and we should use that word carefully, and his own intricate interpretations of these events. Think of it like we're dissecting a complex case file.
Okay, yeah.
We'll be exploring these core concepts that Reinaldo himself introduces, things like advanced surveillance methods, the alleged weaponization of data analysis, the mechanics of covert ops.
As he sees them.
As he sees them, exactly. And the frightening implications if such a network were indeed operating, as he suggests, deeply embedded within the seemingly normal society. We're here to understand the story he's telling and the framework he uses to tell it, which, offers its own insights into the challenges of navigating this information-saturated world we live in.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The central figure in this narrative is Reinaldo Javier Aguirre-Marcano. He's a resident of Katy, Texas.
Okay.
And on August 12th, 2025, so just hours before this testimony was recorded, he made this declaration affirming he's over 18, of sound mind, acting of his own free will. Standard stuff, but important context.
Setting the legal stage, so to speak.
Right, and this isn't something new for him. Reinaldo claims he's been dealing with this organization for many years and has been taking proactive action to defend myself throughout that entire time.
So a long history here, according to him.
A long, documented history, he asserts. What immediately strikes you about Reinaldo's perspective is his self-proclaimed expertise. He doesn't see himself as like a typical victim just caught in something. Instead, he asserts that he's applied a lot of technology and engineering and data analysis to the activities of this alleged organization over the years. He says he's developed a specific know-how that allows him to see these things that others might miss.
So he's framing himself as an analyst, almost.
Very much so. And he's fully aware that his account might sound crazy, that's his word, to an untrained person or anyone without his particular lens on the world. He even urges anyone listening to forward his testimony to the FBI or CIA.
Really? Direct appeal to intel agencies.
Yeah, believing only agencies with, such vast resources and classified knowledge could really understand, to grasp what I'm saying. So this isn't just a disclaimer, it's a framing device, immediately setting the stage for the extraordinary technical details and interpretations that are about to come.
And that framing is crucial when individuals present assertions of this magnitude, often involving alleged state actors, classified information. Well, there are inherent challenges in external verification, right?
Absolutely.
We lack direct access to the alleged data Reinaldo keeps referring to, or to the classified intelligence that you'd actually need to corroborate claims like these.
Of course.
However, Reinaldo's insistence on his data-driven approach does position him differently. not merely as a witness to events, but as an analyst who has, he claims, painstakingly constructed this elaborate framework for understanding them.
Right. It's about his interpretation of the data he says he has.
Exactly. This shifts our focus. It's less about simply believing or disbelieving his narrative wholesale, and more about evaluating the internal consistency and the methodology of his claims as he presents them.
Makes sense.
And for you, our listener, this raises an important point. Why is it so vital to engage with narratives that challenge our conventional understanding of reality, especially when an individual presents them through such a unique analytical lens? In an age of just constant information overload, where figuring out truth from misinformation gets harder and harder, well, understanding how someone constructs such a complex narrative, however seemingly outlandish, can actually offer insights into the broader landscape of information control, perception, and maybe just the individual struggle to make sense of a world that feels chaotic.
So how did Reinaldo first stumble into what he describes as this rabbit hole? He initially believed that the attacks against him, going back to 2021, 2023, were a result of corporate espionage.
Ah, okay. More conventional initially.
Yeah, specifically naming people like Travis Kalanick and also WebMD. But over time, he says he came to a much more unsettling realization.
Which was?
He realized these operations were backed by state-sponsored spy agencies and even military personnel. That's a huge leap.
That is a massive escalation from corporate spying.
Totally. So, given this shift in his understanding, his logical next step, at least at the time, was to find a consulting firm, someone who could advise him on these high-level security threats.
Makes sense. If you think you're dealing with state actors, you need specialized help.
Right. And this search led him to a curious first encounter. He found a man named Eduardo Hurtado. Found him through Nextdoor, the neighborhood social networking app.
Nextdoor.
Interesting, yeah. And Reinaldo now believes Nextdoor itself is controlled by this network, implying it's just another tool in their, vast operational arsenal.
So even common platforms are suspect in his view.
Everything seems to be. Now, Hurtado's background certainly raises an eyebrow in this context. He's identified as a former Venezuelan intelligence officer.
Okay, there it is.
Now, apparently, an author on corporate security, gives tech talks on preventing kidnappings, that sort of thing. Hurtado offered to come to Reinaldo's home for a pre-assessment, which sounds like standard practice in security consulting.
Pretty normal first step, yeah.
But Reinaldo, who was already under what he describes as heavy surveillance and harassment, so much so that he bought a gun for the first time in his life for self-defense, he felt it was a really bad idea to let a former intelligence officer into his home.
Understandable caution, given his mindset.
So he passed on the offer, didn't let him come over.
And this initial encounter with Hurtado, it's pretty significant within Reinaldo's narrative, isn't it? It marks an early point where he suspected that his search for help was itself being, well, infiltrated.
Right. The potential helper might be part of the problem.
Exactly. And the idea that a widely used social platform like Nextdoor could be controlled by this network, as he claims, speaks to a profound distrust in everyday digital infrastructure. It suggests this pervasive reach extending into seemingly benign community tools.
Yeah, no space feels safe.
So when Reinaldo decided to pass on Hurtado's offer, it wasn't just a simple no thanks. Within his framework, it was an early act of self-preservation, based on this growing awareness or perceived awareness of the alleged network's operational patterns.
A calculated move on his part.
You could see it that way. And this decision, seemingly minor at the time, really sets the stage for what he sees as a critical turning point in his whole analytical journey.
And what truly transformed Reinaldo's understanding of this alleged network, he says, was a technological breakthrough, his major discovery. He claims he captured Elon Musk's geo-index.
Okay, the geo-index. Let's unpack that. What does he mean by that?
He describes this geo-index as the foundational technology piece of this criminal enterprise, like a master database that underpins their entire operation.
A master database of what?
Well, to make sense of this immense data set, he explains he developed his own proprietary technology. He calls it the Spy-Hell pipeline.
Spy-Hell pipeline.
And this, he states, is designed to automatically decode that database and then rank the entities within it.
Right. So this geo-index, if we try to conceptualize it based on his description, it sounds like a highly secretive, maybe dynamic registry, almost like a covert credit score or perhaps a strategic importance index for Well, practically everything.
Everything. Like what?
When he refers to entities, he means an incredibly broad range of subjects, from specific individuals, private companies, all the way to houses, entire neighborhoods, even whole countries.
Wow. So a global ranking system for perceived importance to this network.
That seems to be the idea. And the ranking he performs with his spy hell pipeline is based on what he calls a deterministic metric. He really stresses this isn't an inference or some subjective guess on his part. No, he claims it's a quantifiable score computed directly from the data within the GeoIndex, serving as a direct proxy for the importance of each entity to the alleged network.
Okay. Deterministic implies it's objective, based purely on the data itself.
Exactly. It lends this veneer of scientific rigor to Reinaldo's claims, suggesting an objective, quantifiable measure of involvement or importance within this alleged network. It's not about how he feels about an entity, but what the alleged data says about its strategic value.
Which is a powerful claim.
It is. And, the very idea of such a system, it mirrors real-world concerns about pervasive data collection and algorithmic profiling, doesn't it? Where seemingly innocuous data points get aggregated to assign importance or risk to people or places, impacting their lives in ways they might not even perceive.
Definitely echoes those concerns. So to help us grasp the sheer scale of these scores he's talking about, Reinaldo provides some crucial data points as reference.
Okay, examples are good here.
For instance, the Tesla Gigafactory in Austin, which he links directly to Elon Musk, who he believes created this foundational database way back around 2001, 2002.
Okay, so linking it to Musk's early work.
Yeah. That Gigafactory, he says, has a score in the hundreds of millions of points in this GeoIndex.
Hundreds of millions. That's a huge number. A benchmark, maybe?
Right. Now, let's compare that to Eduardo Hurtado's house. The former Venezuelan intelligence officer Reinaldo initially reached out to, remember?
Yeah, the one he didn't let visit.
His house, according to Reinaldo's analysis using the spy hell pipeline, scores 3.5 million points.
Okay, 3.5 million still sounds like a lot, but much less than the Gigafactory.
Much less. But here's the truly startling comparison. This is what he presents as a key aha moment for him. Diosdado Cabello's house in Caracas.
Cabello. He's a prominent figure in Venezuela, often linked to the government. Reinaldo calls him a puppet master.
That's how Reinaldo refers to him, yes. Cabello's house, he claims, scores approximately 2.6 million points in the database.
Wait, so Hurtado's house in Katy, Texas, scores higher than Diosdado Cabello's house in Caracas.
According to Reinaldo's claimed analysis of this GeoIndex data, yes. 3.5 million versus 2.6 million.
Wow. Okay, that comparison is designed to make you sit up and take notice.
Exactly. So what does this all mean for Reinaldo? His analysis reveals that Eduardo Hurtado's score, according to this GeoIndex, is greater than Diosdado Cabello's house. For Reinaldo, this wasn't just a number. It was a profound revelation.
A signifier.
Indicating Hurtado's immense strategic importance within this alleged network, much higher than even a figure like Cabello, at least in terms of this specific metric for their residences.
Which challenges conventional assumptions about who the key players might be.
Right. Upon this discovery, Reinaldo felt compelled to take direct action. He published Hurtado's name multiple times on his website and even reported him to the IRS. He notes he's been aware of this score for about 10 months, ever since developing his spy hell pipeline.
So his actions, from his perspective, flow directly from the insights he believes he gained through this analytical framework. He's not just observing, he's acting on the intelligence he's gathered.
Yes, he's currently engaged in what he calls a campaign to disseminate this information, primarily through books published on Amazon.
Books on Amazon, interesting distribution channel.
He offers two distinct versions. One is a narrative-style book aimed at ordinary citizens, designed to help normal people, as he puts it, understand global control and how they might unknowingly be targets of such a system.
Okay, raising public awareness.
And the other is a counterintelligence brief. This, he claims, is the very same document he's been sending to world leaders and lawmakers in strategically selected countries.
So, operating on two levels, public and governmental, what's the strategy behind this?
His core strategy here is to exploit what he terms information asymmetry. He posits that this network functions by deliberately keeping its own agents in the dark about this database leak he claims to possess.
The network doesn't want its own people to know their cover might be blown.
That's his theory. He thinks these agents would quit or desert if they knew their information, their very identities and roles, were potentially public or compromised.
Okay.
Therefore, Reinaldo's explicit goal is to give the information to the agents themselves. essentially weaponizing transparency against the network.
Turning the network's own information control tactics against itself. That's bold.
He acknowledges this is an incredibly risky move, but views it as necessary. In his words, there's no other way out. They will find me. So it's a desperate measure, perhaps.
That strategy highlights a fascinating, if extremely dangerous, attempt, and it really brings us to this pivotal moment he describes, doesn't it? The cover-blown incident.
Exactly. He sent Eduardo Hurtado a link to his Amazon book, the one containing the counterintelligence brief. Initially, Hurtado just ignored the messages, but after Reinaldo sent that particular brief,
Hurtado responded.
Finally replied, yeah, with just a single character, a question mark.
Huh, cryptic.
Reinaldo didn't hesitate. He sent a blunt follow-up message telling Hurtado, your cover is blown.
Straight to the point.
And then he added that he was sending you the book so you can forward it to your friends at the SEBIN, that's the Venezuelan intelligence service, who are operating here in Katy illegally like you.
Wow. Directly accusing him of illegal operations on U.S. soil.
He goes further. He even notes, with a certain dark irony perhaps, that he was doing them a favor. Because Diosdado Cabello, he claims, wasn't going to tell these agents that the database with all their addresses had leaked.
It's a remarkably direct challenge, almost goading him.
It seems like it. And this is precisely where Reinaldo's identify, evoke, expose, or IE framework comes into full play. It offers this structured approach to his confrontation.
Right. The IE framework. How does that work again?
First, he uses his data, the geo-index analysis, to identify the alleged agents like Hurtado.
Okay.
Then he aims to evoke a response by directly confronting them with the information he claims to possess, showing them the data, sending the book, essentially presenting them with a choice based on the leaked data.
He clarifies this isn't about entrapment, though.
No, he says it's not entrapment, but about prompting a reaction, seeing what they do.
Okay. Identify, evoke, and then expose.
Exactly. If they commit a crime in response to that information, if they act out against him, retaliate, he will then expose them publicly.
What's fascinating here, from an analytical standpoint, is the direct correlation Reinaldo draws between his actions specifically sending that message to Hurtado and the immediate alleged reactions he then describes from the network.
Yeah, he sees a direct cause and effect.
This framework suggests a highly calculated, almost adversarial approach to confronting what he perceives as his powerful hidden enemy.
It's reminiscent of classic counterintelligence or even psychological operations, where the goal is to trigger a measurable response from a target to confirm suspicions or gain further intelligence.
The high-stakes chess game.
Definitely. It highlights the strategic game involved in information warfare, and it raises really significant questions about the escalating danger for an individual who actively applies such a framework against alleged state-sponsored actors.
And escalate it certainly did, according to him. The first ripple Reinaldo observed after sending that blunt message to Hurtado involved Penelope Suarez. He describes her as a close friend.
A close friend, okay. Interestingly, Penelope had apparently ignored Reinaldo's messages for months. But precisely after he sent that message to Hurtado, she suddenly replied.
Timing is everything in his narrative.
It really seems to be. Reinaldo, drawing on what he calls years of experience dealing with attempts to implicate him legally, immediately recognized her message as suspicious. He felt it was crafted, engineered to cause trouble.
What did she say?
Her main complaint, according to him, was her disbelief that her photo was now on the cover of his book.
Her photo on the book cover.
Yeah. Now, the book cover itself is apparently another fascinating piece of Reinaldo's analytical puzzle. He claims it's designed to encode information, much like he alleges the network does with, say, license plates or satellite images.
Encode information. How?
He calls this a crime boost signal, inspired by nav boost, the concept used in navigation systems to enhance accuracy.
Right, like for GPS.
Here, Reinaldo suggests it's a way of embedding or amplifying information about criminal activity within seemingly benign public displays, basically hiding intelligence in plain sight. Steganography, essentially.
Okay, so the cover itself is a message, in his view.
Yes. At the center of this cover, he places Diosdado Cabello, representing the eye of the network. Proximity to Cabello on the cover, he claims, indicates perceived legal liability within the U.S. legal system.
Liability. Interesting metric.
And the size of a person's picture on the cover signifies their importance to the network. He even notes the corners of the image are significant, placing figures like Damon Sachs, Breton Barrier, Mark Swisher, and Phil Denning there.
And where was Penelope placed?
Penelope, he claims, is positioned right in the eye of Diosdado Cabello, due to what he calls the immense, almost infinite legal liability she allegedly brings to the U.S. for the network.
Okay, that's a very specific and loaded placement. What's the implication he draws from her reaction?
The implication for Reinaldo from this swift reaction is stark. He had only placed her photo on the cover less than 12 hours before she texted him. And the photo itself was super small, he says, just 100 pixels wide, in a book that, according to him, nobody has bought.
So how could she have known so fast?
Exactly. For Reinaldo, it's obvious. He believes this was a rapid reaction to my message to Hurtado, indicating real-time observation by the network. He thinks they wanted her to stay in writing that she has no relationship to him, an attempt to create a record of plausible deniability for her.
Plausible deniability again. This incident with Penelope Suarez, within Reinaldo's narrative, it really does connect to these larger themes of control and deniability that he attributes to this network.
Seems central to his whole thesis.
And he offers a theory about Penelope's immigration status to explain why she might be so important or bring liability. He suggests she may already be a resident or citizen, contrary to the story he had apparently been given that she was waiting for asylum.
Why would that matter?
He posits that this would explain the alleged need for something he calls the Dr. Diala fake divorce scheme, a separate claim he's documented elsewhere, which he believes was designed to legitimize payments to her within the U.S. financial system.
Ah, avoiding offshore transfers that might attract scrutiny.
Precisely. Making the payments look like legitimate alimony or something similar. This, he believes, also creates significant liability for Diosdado Cabello if these activities could be traced back.
Okay, so connecting personal status to financial maneuvers and network liability.
It raises that question again. If Reinaldo's interpretation is correct, how deep does this network's alleged reach go, extending even into the most intimate, personal aspects of its alleged members' lives, their legal status, their financial arrangements? The complexity suggests an organization with a profound level of alleged control and foresight, planning for legal contingencies.
Okay, so that was the first ripple, Penelope Suarez. What came next?
The very next day, Monday, August 11th, around 8:45 a.m., so less than 24 hours after Reinaldo's message to Hurtado.
Quick succession.
Very. A second ripple occurred. What Reinaldo describes as a water main veiled threat. A truck arrived at his property, he says, with 4 or 5 men and heavy drilling equipment. And they immediately started drilling holes within his property lines.
Drilling holes?
For what? That wasn't clear. But what instantly struck Reinaldo was their justification. He says the men recited utility easement laws, using the exact same phrasing. Phil Denning, one of the names on the book cover corners, had used in an email almost a year prior in a seemingly unrelated context.
The exact same phrasing. That does sound specific.
He interpreted this as a clear, deliberate, veiled threat, akin to saying, we can mess with your water and we can kill you that way. Poisoning via the water supply, essentially.
Chilling. How did he respond?
Immediately and strategically, he deployed his KOL-mobile, that's his vehicle, equipped with multiple cameras, to watch the water main from a distance.
So he's documenting it.
Yes. He observed that the alleged agents seemed unsure what to do, as if they were waiting for orders or maybe waiting for a specific signal to proceed or stop. He also speculates that a secondary intention of this whole operation might have been simpler. Just to get me out of the house.
Why?
Because that's where his communications are very strong. He mentions having robust Comcast, satellite internet, and a protected satellite antenna. He believes it's difficult for them to intercept his sensitive communications while he's inside.
Okay, so luring him outside might have been a goal.
Possibly. And he explicitly states that this incident, including the drilling, his observations of the men, it's all documented with recordings on his YouTube channel, offering another tangible piece of his narrative for external review, assuming it's still available.
Right. Okay, so Hurtado message, Penelope reaction, water main threat. What happened that afternoon?
The afternoon of August 11th, according to Reinaldo's account, took an even darker and more intricate turn, this time directly involving his former partner and their child, Marcelo.
Okay.
Reinaldo states he's been diligently trying to maintain a civil relationship with his former partner, for the benefit of the child. Standard co-parenting goal. However, a last-minute thing dramatically disrupted their usual routine pickup. His former partner initially claimed she couldn't pick up Marcelo at the usual time because of a sudden open house event at her other son, Sebas's school.
A last-minute school event. Okay.
This seemingly innocuous detail immediately triggered Reinaldo's historical pattern recognition, as he calls it. He recalls a strikingly similar incident from the past.
What was that?
A fake birthday party for Bree. He believes this party was entirely orchestrated as a reaction to some damaging online posts he'd made, specifically concerning someone named David Malero.
A fake party. How does he know?
An informant, he claims, later told him this birthday party wasn't real. It was actually a sophisticated operation designed to gather male companions, including someone named Deanna's husband, Virgil Chavez, for some undisclosed purpose.
Okay, that's elaborate. What's the connection to the school event?
The critical connection here is who told his former partner about the school event. She mentioned it was Deanna.
Ah, the same Deanna whose husband was supposedly targeted in the faked party operation.
That's the immediate link Reinaldo made. This instantly raised his suspicion. He simply reacted by saying, apparently out loud, "Oh, Deanna, that explains it," suggesting an immediate recognition of a perceived network operative orchestrating the delay.
How did his former partner react to that?
The reaction he claims he received was, in his view, disproportionate. She reacted by screaming, crying, saying, "I told you not to mess with my friends."
A very strong reaction.
He believes this highly emotional response was, in itself, a form of coded communication, or perhaps a reaction designed to convey a message back to the network monitoring them.
And what did he do?
He immediately launched what he saw as a countermove, which he believes was heard by the alleged bugging devices in the house. He directly told his former partner, "To be perfectly transparent with you, I've reported Deanna and Chavez and all of them to the IRS months ago. Like, even you sent the form."
Whoa, dropping that information bomb, knowing it might be overheard.
Exactly. He says he was well aware that the house was bugged and that his words would likely be heard by the network, acting as a real-time signal of his actions and his intelligence regarding Deanna.
This sequence of events, as Reinaldo narrates it, it really does raise profound questions about the alleged network's operational complexity, doesn't it? How do they allegedly coordinate such intricate, multi-layered operations, seemingly in real time?
Yeah, the layers are dizzying.
You see the alleged manipulation, the creation of a last-minute school event, potentially as a cover, the former partner's emotional reaction, which Reinaldo interprets as a network signal, Reinaldo's strategic reveal about the IRS report, designed for the network to hear, and the presumed real-time monitoring of his conversations.
It all points back to that idea of plausible deniability. Absolutely. This narrative suggests that plausible deniability is a core operational principle for the network, as Reinaldo implies, where seemingly innocuous everyday events are orchestrated to serve covert purposes, making it incredibly difficult to connect the dots without Reinaldo's specific and admittedly unique analytical framework. It suggests a deeply embedded system capable of manipulating daily routines.
So he's now suspicious. He's dropped this info about Deanna. What happens when he leaves the house to pick up Marcelo?
As Reinaldo prepared to depart, his surveillance instincts, he says, escalated to a new level. He made sure his KOL-mobile was actively watching the water main area.
Okay.
And crucially, he placed a second camera watching the KO-mogul itself.
The camera watching the camera car. Why?
His reasoning was chillingly simple. I know them. They're waiting for an opening. He felt they might tamper with his surveillance vehicle if he left it unwatched.
Paranoid or prudent, given his narrative?
Within his framework, absolutely prudent. He also mentions a significant missed opportunity just before they left. He had a particularly important batch of letters, costing $4,000 in postage and prep, he says, destined for Japanese lawmakers, containing critical information, presumably about the network.
Okay.
However, his former partner arrived to pick him up before he could get these letters sent out. He now considers this his mistake, an opening they might have exploited later.
Got it. So what happened as they actually drove away?
What followed, according to Reinaldo's detailed account, complete with timestamps he pulls from his recordings, was a meticulously choreographed departure sequence, a series of signals.
Signals like what?
At 01.18 in his recording, a kid on a bicycle passed directly in front of him as he walked to the car. He sees that as a signal.
A kid on a bike?
Yeah. Then, at 01.23, a white Tesla from a specific nearby address, 26707 Valleyside Drive, which Reinaldo identifies as belonging to a Salt Typhoon agent, backed out of its driveway. He interprets this as signaling I'm about to leave. At 01.36, as their car actually departed, that same white Tesla drove forward again. He reads this as a signal that I actually left. Confirmation.
Right.
Then, at 01.51, a truck advanced down the street, seemingly to track them ahead, and a white SUV from another specific address, 26703 Valleyside Dr, which he ties to individuals named NAIR, GOPAKUMER G, and GEETHA G, arrived back at their own garage. He interprets this as Probably a signal to the agents on the John Cook side of the street that the operation is a Jew.
A go signal for what? The break-in.
That's his implication. Finally, at 02.07, he notes a reflection of a red Tesla from another neighbor's house. The Priddys at 26718 Valleyside Drive appeared in the KOL-mobile's brake light. He sees this as another signal to give the go-ahead to the other side of the street.
This is incredibly detailed coordination using neighbor movements.
Extremely detailed. Reinaldo, claiming 20 years of experience and his data-driven approach to analyzing local traffic patterns, immediately sensed heavy surveillance. He claims it was 12 to 15 times higher than usual.
He can quantify it?
He claims he can put numbers to it, comparing it to other incidents. He mentions a previous YubiKey theft incident, which he described as having 15-20 times heavier surveillance. So this was significant, but maybe slightly less intense than that previous peak.
And his conclusion from all these signals and the heightened surveillance.
His chilling conclusion based on these observations, he knew that they were going to break into the house while he was gone.
He just knew it.
He felt certain. And the bad luck for the alleged perpetrators, he notes with some satisfaction, was that he had just washed the KOL-mobile.
The camera car.
Yeah, making it shiny. And its polished surface inadvertently captured the reflection of the break-in occurring at his house, providing a visual anomaly, albeit indirect, for his later investigation.
Wow, caught in the reflection. If we connect this to the bigger picture he's painting, Reinaldo is essentially describing a highly sophisticated, distributed computing system.
That's a good way to put it. One that allegedly uses seemingly mundane elements, cars driving, even children on bicycles, specific vehicle movements at specific times as coded signals.
To coordinate these intricate real-time operations.
Yes, and he posits this system functions in a way where overt or traditional communications are perhaps not trusted or are too risky, especially in what he calls this very historic moment, whatever that means precisely.
Right.
The idea of the KO-mobile as a mirror, providing this inadvertent visual proof, combined with the distinct sound of his gate unlocking a sound he claims to have known intimately for almost 2 years, since installing the gate offers tangible proof within his meticulously constructed narrative.
Found in Reflection.
Yeah, sensory data points. This narrative also highlights what Reinaldo views as immense liability for his neighbors whom he names. He claims individuals like Ryan Olivan and alleged agents from those specific addresses, 26707, 26711, and the Priddys at 26718 are all acting in coordination and are identifiable in his videos.
And their houses are marked in his geo-index.
So he claims, yes, reinforcing their alleged involvement within this complex network structure he describes. This speaks to a deeply embedded, localized operational structure, potentially, where seemingly ordinary citizens and their homes could, theoretically, be active participants in some kind of shadow war. It blurs the lines.
Blurs them completely. Okay, so he believes a break-in is happening. He goes to the preschool. What happens there?
The preschool visit, according to Reinaldo, then strategically became a key delaying tactic orchestrated by the network.
Another delay.
Yes. He observed what he called a statistical anomaly at the preschool. When they arrived, there were no cars parked, the whole area was deserted, and no staff, no principal, no receptionists were visibly present.
That does sound unusual for pickup time.
Especially because they picked up Marcelo at the exact same time as usual, 5 p.m. It wasn't like they were late or early.
So what's his theory for why it was deserted?
His theory is that parents might have been directed to that Katy ISD open house event we mentioned earlier to provide them with plausible deniability for not being at the preschool. Or perhaps, he speculates, they simply didn't send their kids to school that day specifically to avoid any connection to him, anticipating something might happen.
Okay, multiple possibilities in his mind. Was there anything else strange at the pickup?
Yes. Marcelo was in different clothes when they picked him up, and apparently he couldn't explain why. His former partner also couldn't find his original clothes in the usual bins where spares are kept.
Different clothes. Why?
Reinaldo quickly realized this was likely another delaying tactic. The confusion over clothes bought the intruders more time inside his home. He tried to hurry his former partner along.
Did Marcelo offer any clues?
Only one small phrase, clothes in water.
Clothes in water.
Yeah. This led Reinaldo to theorize that the intruders back at the house, or someone coordinating with the preschool, intentionally spilled water on him earlier in the day to force a change of clothes, thereby creating the pretext for this extended delay and confusion during pickup.
Wow, that's intricate planning, if true.
Extremely. He concludes that the network must have maintained precise, real-time surveillance on him to know the exact moment he left the preschool. This allowed them, he believes, to safely retrieve whoever had broken into his home before he got back. He calls this strategy stupid, though, given what he assumes are the U.S.'s advanced satellite capabilities, suggesting they underestimated his ability to detect their ground-level movements and signals.
Okay, so they get home. He suspected a break-in. What did he find? Or rather, what was his immediate question?
His immediate question upon returning home was profoundly unsettling. How did they break in so fast, not forcing the lock? There were no signs of forced entry.
Meaning?
His chilling conclusion, they have a key.
A key to his house.
Ah.
How?
This led him down the path to what he calls the master key conspiracy, and it involves, surprisingly, a major retail chain, Lowe's.
Lowe's.
The hardware store.
That's the one.
Yeah.
He explains that he had previously changed his smart locks. He mentions Nest, bought on eBay, which he also believes is part of the network, and bugged.
Okay. Assumes eBay's compromised too.
Yes. He swapped those smart locks for traditional hard locks with keys, and he purchased these new locks from a specific Lowe's store. 9505 Spring Green Boulevard, Katy, Texas, 77494.
Why is that specific store important?
He highlights the alleged significance of this particular Lowe's location within his whole narrative. He claims it has a 05 designation, which he interprets as some kind of protected or highly controlled channel within the network system.
05 designation. He also claims it's surrounded by buffer zones, like an H-E-B grocery store, which he also links to the network, and even things he calls trampoline antennas, which he believes are part of their local surveillance infrastructure. And crucially, he explicitly states he had been poisoned at this very Lowe's location once before, adding another layer of suspicion to this specific place.
Poisoned at the Lowe's before. Okay, that adds context to his suspicion. What's the master key part?
His identical keys theory is startling. He bought 4 locks of the same brand for his home at that Lowe's. And later, he discovered that 2 of those locks, bought together, had identical keys. They opened each other.
Is that common? Or even possible?
Typically, locks of the same brand are keyed differently for security. Getting identical keys in a small batch like that would usually be considered highly improbable, though manufacturing errors can happen. But Reinaldo doesn't see it as an error.
What's his hypothesis?
His hypothesis is that Lowe's, as a willing participant in this network, deliberately stocked the shelves at that specific store with a small set of key combinations, maybe organized by STU or serial number. This would make it easier for the network, who he believes surveils purchases, to know which key they needed for his home just by knowing which locks he bought.
So Lowe's intentionally restricted the key variety to make his house accessible.
That's his theory. The twist, he notes, is that by restricting these probabilities, they inadvertently shot themselves in the foot. They increased the chance that he, buying multiple locks at once, would actually get identical keys, revealing the pattern.
That's quite an accusation against a major retailer.
It is. And if Reinaldo's theory holds true, the direct implication he draws is significant. Lowe's is a willing participant in this and might be liable for the poisoning, transforming what seems like an ordinary retail transaction into a calculated act within a larger, sinister scheme, he alleges.
Okay, so he gets home, suspects they used a key. What happens next? Did he feel okay?
No. After returning home, eating some chicken, drinking water, brushing his teeth, Reinaldo went to bed. But at 2 a.m. on Tuesday, August 12th. So, early the next morning, he woke up feeling violently ill.
Violently ill? How?
He describes classic poisoning symptoms: severe abdominal pain, irregular heart beating, abnormal vision so bad he couldn't read his computer screen, and a distinct bitter metallic taste in his mouth.
That sounds serious.
Very. He notes it felt like a different kind of poison from previous alleged attempts he claims to have experienced, but similar enough in effect. He claims he can now distinguish between the various agents they have allegedly used against him.
Where did he think the poison came from this time?
He immediately suspected specific contamination vectors within his home. Things he used right after getting back, his Amazon-bought water filter, maybe hand soap, or possibly his toothbrush.
Did he find anything?
Upon checking his water filter, the kind you attach to the faucet, he found the filter cartridges fell off easily. He insists he knew he had secured them tightly when he installed them. This led him to conclude, "It seems obvious to me that they tampered with the filter."
Tampered with the water filter. That fits the earlier water main threat narrative, too.
It does create a thematic link, doesn't it? Reinaldo asserts he now has a clear evidence trail for authorities. He has his physical symptoms, obviously, but also the potentially tampered water filters, the soap, the toothbrush, all preserved as evidence.
Oh, the video evidence.
And his raw video files, which he says are available on Google Drive for authorities to analyze and enhance. These videos, he claims, show that shadow near the gate, capture the unmistakable gate unlocking sound, and document what he describes as the coordinated movements of his neighbors during the departure sequence, all contributing to his narrative of the break-in and subsequent poisoning.
Okay, so he's sick. He believes he was poisoned during the break-in. This leads to the critical and chilling question within his framework. Who ordered it? Did he have theories?
Yes, he presents two main theories for who might have ordered the poisoning attempt. He acknowledges he lacks the means to definitively prove either one, but he sees strong circumstantial evidence or patterns pointing to both.
What's the first theory?
His first theory points to a direct reaction to the Diana Chavez Doria comment.
The comment he made to his ex-partner, knowing the house was bugged.
Exactly. He believes the poisoning attempt happened less than an hour after he told his former partner he had reported Diana to the IRS. He sees this extremely short time frame as suggesting a rapid, almost reflexive retaliatory response ordered by someone connected to Diana.
Does he have precedence for this kind of quick reaction?
He claims he does. He mentions a previous pattern with someone named Carmen DeFanti. He alleges that a public comment he made about her led to an attempted truck runover targeting him within just 20 minutes. So he believes this rapid cause and effect exists with certain figures.
And he thinks Deanna has that kind of power.
He admits he didn't realize Deanna's full importance to the network until this incident. But now, based on the swift, severe reaction, the alleged poisoning, he suspects she does have the power to order such an attack.
Is there any other evidence he points to regarding Deanna's importance?
Yes. He provides what he considers compelling digital evidence for Deanna's alleged prominence and, significantly, her subsequent concealment. He claims she was very public online just 2 years ago, posting about exotic vacations, beach photos, etc.
Okay.
But now, he states, if you search online, no pictures of anybody called Deanna in the world can be found easily. He believes her online presence has been scrubbed.
Scrubbed how?
He conducted a Google Trends search, he says, and claims to have found topics created specifically for Diana Chavez Doria by a company called Liana Technologies, apparently in collaboration with Google.
What does he think these topics do?
He interprets this as a deliberate digital operation designed to demote the actual pages that do mention the real person. A form of sophisticated information suppression or SEO manipulation to bury genuine mentions under generic topics. He calls this effort a smoking gun for her importance, arguing they would only expend such resources to protect very important people.
So theory one is Deanna, or someone close to her, ordered the hit in reaction to his IRS comment. Why not Hurtado, the guy he messaged earlier?
He addresses that. He believes this theory is more plausible than Hurtado ordering it because, he claims, Hurtado already tried an attack with that Easy Fiber Water main incident earlier the same day. A second immediate poisoning attempt from the same source, Hurtado, would be strategically stupid in his view, especially if Reinaldo was already alerted to poisoning threats. Therefore, the Deanna reaction theory fits the timing better, he argues. Okay, it's complex reasoning. In the world of counterintelligence, attributing motive or direct orders for a covert act is notoriously difficult, right? Proxies, compartmentalization, plausible deniability. It's all designed to obscure the source. Reinaldo's struggle for attribution here really reflects that inherent complexity.
Definitely. So what's his second theory about who ordered the poisoning?
His second theory posits that the poisoning was actually orchestrated by Katy ISD event organizers.
The organizers of the school open house, how do they fit in?
He explains that the school event, which provided the pretext for the delay in picking up Marcelo, was a radical change from its usual timing. He suggests it might have been set up specifically, timed that day, to provide plausible deniability for all those parents from the preschool, including the principal. By having them at the ISD event, they wouldn't be at the preschool when the weirdness happened, thereby shielding them from direct implication in the delay tactics.
So the ISD event itself was part of the setup for the break-in and poisoning.
That's the theory. If this were true, Reinaldo states, it would implicate the people that organized that event from the Katy ISD, potentially expanding the circle of alleged conspirators into an even more mainstream public institution.
That's a huge implication. How does this theory affect the Deanna theory?
He notes that this theory would, in his analysis, potentially eliminate Deanna from trying to kill me in reaction to his comment. Why? Because the Katy ISD event, presumably, was set up before he made the comment about reporting Deanna to the IRS.
The timeline wouldn't fit for a reaction.
Exactly. In this scenario, the plan, including the delay mechanism, was already in motion before his comment, so Deanna couldn't have ordered it in response to the comment.
So, two competing theories based on interpreting the timing and motivations.
Right. Reinaldo admits he doesn't have the definitive means to prove which theory is correct. But he sees a consistent, chilling pattern in the alleged network's operations, regardless of who ordered it this time. If he publicly mentions heavy liability about a person that is very important and that person has the power to order something, that something happens to me, they will do it.
A perceived operational protocol. Expose liability, trigger retaliation.
That seems to be the core pattern he believes he's identified and is now experiencing directly.
So, after this harrowing experience, he records his testimony. What happens when he tries to share it?
The alleged network's reactions, or perhaps platform reactions interpreted through his lens, were swift and targeted. Just 2 hours after he posted his video testimony on YouTube on August 12th, it was removed.
Taken down by YouTube. Why?
The quoted reason was a violation of YouTube's harassment and cyberbullying policy, specifically citing content that shares non-public, personally identifiable information.
Personally identifiable info. Like what?
The removal notice specifically pointed to the 6.06 mark in the video. That's the point where Reinaldo talks about Eduardo Hurtado.
Naming Hurtado.
Reinaldo highlights the irony, of course. Given that he was the one allegedly targeted and victimized by Hurtado and others, yet his video is cited for harassment for sharing information. He believes the policy violation actually refers to the neighbor's addresses he mentioned, which he says he had included in previous uncensored videos without issue. He sees it as a targeted attack on his ability to disseminate his narrative and evidence.
Reflects that broader struggle over information control, where platforms themselves become battlegrounds for narratives.
Precisely. And if digital censorship wasn't enough, a legal counterattack quickly followed.
Legal action?
Reinaldo received a third court citation from Morgan Hibner, presumably opposing counsel in an ongoing matter, requesting a psychiatric evaluation. This was scheduled for September 8th, 2025.
A third request for a psyche fall.
Yes. Reinaldo's interpretation of this move is telling. He simply states, "It feels like they're going backwards," as in reverting to tactics aimed at discrediting him personally rather than addressing the substance of his claims.
Shifting focus from his allegations to his mental state.
Exactly. This strategic use of legal processes to discredit individuals making extraordinary claims, especially when suspected direct physical harm attempts are involved. Well, it's a documented tactic in narratives involving covert operations or powerful entities.
Makes sense. Undermine the messenger.
It allows a powerful entity, potentially, to deflect the substance of the claims by questioning the claimant's sanity or credibility, rather than engaging with the evidence presented, however circumstantial it might be. This connects to that broader struggle for information control and really highlights the immense difficulty an individual faces when confronting powerful, potentially unseen entities. They can leverage institutional mechanisms, legal systems, platform policies, not just direct force, to maintain secrecy and control the narrative.
Turning a system itself into another weapon.
It certainly raises an important question about the multifaceted mechanisms that might be used to silence or neutralize individuals who claim to expose hidden power structures. The legal system becomes just another arena of conflict.
So we've taken a really deep dive here into Reinaldo Aguiar's extraordinary testimony, a narrative that unfolds with the precision and, frankly, the tension of a meticulously planned operation, at least as he presents it.
It's dense, complex, and deeply unsettling.
We've traced his timeline as he lays it out. From the moment he sent that cover-blown message to Eduardo Hurtado to what he describes as the immediate and alarming reactions involving Penelope Suarez and that strategic water main threat.
All happening in very quick succession.
Right. Culminating, according to his account, in this highly coordinated break-in and suspected poisoning attempt at his home, followed by swift digital censorship on YouTube and these relentless legal challenges involving psychiatric evaluations, all within a matter of days.
A compressed, high-stakes sequence of events.
And throughout this deeply unsettling account, we've explored Reinaldo's core tools and frameworks, the concepts he uses to make sense of it all. His alleged capture of the geo-index, his self-developed spy hell pipeline for decoding and ranking entities.
And that identify, evoke, expose framework guiding his confrontational actions.
Exactly. It's a chilling narrative, especially when you get into the details of the alleged neighbor coordination, the cars, the signals, and the supposed manipulation of seemingly ordinary life events, like school open houses or birthday parties, to serve as covers for what he claims are high-stakes covert operations.
It paints a picture of a world where nothing is quite as it seems.
Definitely. This deep dive into Reinaldo Aguiar's claims certainly raises some important questions for all of us, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. In an age of just pervasive data collection, interconnected digital footprints everywhere,
Mm.
how much information about us is truly private? And perhaps more pointedly, who might be leveraging that information for unseen agendas?
That's the million-dollar question.
Consider this. If even the most ordinary elements of daily life, a trip to Lowe's for a new door lock, your child's school schedule, even something as mundane as a home water filter, if these can allegedly be integrated into a complex, high-stakes operation like the one Reinaldo describes, well, how does one truly discern reality anymore or protect oneself?
It feels almost impossible if things are that intertwined.
Right. So regardless of whether you accept the specific claims made in this deep dive, the narrative itself compels us to critically examine the profound challenges of information control in our time. Issues of personal security, the potential for data misuse, and maybe the lengths to which some might go to protect their secrets and maintain hidden influence. It leaves you with a lot to think about regarding the intersection of technology, power, and personal vulnerability.